This is John Young with the Disc Jockey News. Today we've got a special little segment we're going to be doing for you today. I've got James Keeley here from American DJ. Good afternoon, James.
Hey, John, how's it going?
It's going well, going well. Hey,
Yeah,
we just got done with LDI last week, and one of the things I saw you doing an awful lot of is getting into software to control that light show that you had at the booth at LDI.
yeah, we had a few softwares running the booth at LDI.
Yeah, and one of the things I've had guys asking about is MyDMX 2.0. They've been asking about it, and well, I figured you're the man to give
Yeah,
us some information about that.
definitely.
So,
Uh,
so yeah,
go ahead.
hang on. Let me hold that. So let's start out. Let's look at what kind of hardware would I need to be able to run MyDMX 2.0 with my lighting.
Well, we actually have something new that we just introduced. It's not quite out yet. I have probably one of the first ones outside of the company. It's called MyDMX Buddy. It's a very small, easy to use interface. You literally just take it out, and you got your cable, and it's literally this big. It's like the size of like a DMX Terminator.
Yeah.
It's USB to DMX. It's 256 channels of DMX. It's got limited abilities out of the box, but one of the coolest things about it is next year, when this comes out, we will have a website where you can go and purchase the upgrades. So if you're just starting out small and you're not really sure how many channels you're going to need or anything like that, it has 256 channels. You can upgrade it to a full universe of DMX. If you want MIDI support, if you have like a APC 40 or anything like that, and you want to trigger your scenes through a MIDI controller, you can buy that feature. This right here is going to allow you to step up your process of DMX lighting as you learn it.
And James, if I'm not mistaken, now, so you would just take that and plug that in to your laptop,
Yep.
and that's your hardware connection.
Yeah, that's your USB to DMX relay pretty much right here.
Wow.
So one thing that's really cool is, I don't know if you can see this little button right here.
Yeah.
It says Easy Standalone, or it says Standalone.
Yeah.
What you'll be able to do that you can buy as a feature is you can take your scenes that you've made. Say you just wanted to do say you're a DJ and somebody just bought uplighting for their wedding or whatever. They
Yep.
just want to uplighting. They don't want all the fancy whatever.
Sure.
You don't want to bring your computer for lighting. You can load in all of your scenes into this little interface, into this memory. You power it through USB to like a wall adapter,
Yep.
and then run your DMX cable to your lights. Or if you use the American DJ Wi-Fi stuff, you can go Wi-Fi transceiver to Wi-Fi receiver, and you have a completely wireless setup, and all you need to do is hit that button to go through the scenes that you programmed into the interface.
Interesting. You're talking about these updates for that. Now, are those updates something that will be, when you hook up to your computer, that they will be downloaded right to that device?
Yeah, you will go to a website and you will purchase the updates. It'll update the firmware of your interface, and it'll allow that functionality in the software.
And that'll be available when, James?
We are looking at a early 2015 release. The best part,
Oh,
the best
excuse
part
me. Yes, best.
is the $99 map price for the basic entry level. That's map. Nobody pays map, right?
Right.
So you're talking less than $100 to get half a universe of DMX with the MyDMX 2.0 software, and you can upgrade it as you go. It's probably one of the cheapest solutions for DMX software control I've ever seen.
Wow. Yeah, that is a killer price.
Yeah, very good.
And now, so that's the hardware part of it. Now when we get into the software, right
Sure.
now, of course, a very popular software program has been MyDMX 2.0 that a lot of people have been using and loving. So can we take a look at a little bit, for those who have never tried this before, can we take a little and give us a kind of a couple of pointers about what DMX software can do?
Sure. I even have, right now on this computer, I have the newest release of MyDMX 2 that's not out yet.
Oh, tell
I
us.
have the
Yeah, tell us
I have
about
the,
that.
I have the early alpha release that has the 3D visualizer, the updated effects engine, and also the scan library editor. So I'll let you get the first peek in depth of all this stuff.
Nice. And this is an upgrade or the next generation of MyDMX, correct?
This is like, if MyDMX was an operating system, this is like your Service Pack 1 huge update, all rolled into one. And it's completely free.
Cool. Let's dive into that. I want to take a look.
All right.
So, James, there's a lot of stuff on this page, and as someone who hasn't really used too much DMX software, it might be a little confusing. Can you kind of walk us around and show us or talk to us about each of those sections?
Sure. I mean, it looks like a lot, I know, but it's very basic. It's split up into 3 different tabs. You have your setup, editor, where you would program your stuff, and then your live playback tab, where all your buttons will show up after you program. But the very first step that anybody's going to want to do is they're going to want to patch in their fixtures. And how we do that on MyDMX software, and most any software, is you need fixture profiles.
Okay.
And so that's what our scan library is. It's our library of all of our fixtures. You can see there's generics, there's, we have American DJ, we have all the popular Chevette, Elation, and every other fixture that you can possibly imagine.
Nice.
Plus, if we don't have your profile, we can make it for you. And we offer that for free. So, for example, we can go into generics, and we have a bunch of generic fixtures, park cans, moving heads. And we'll go into American DJ, Accu series, NO series. So that's some inner pocket spots. And the mode lets us select, 9-channel, which would be 8-bit pan and tilt, or 11 channels, which would be 16-bit pan and tilt.
Okay.
We have that fine control. So basically, I can take this and I can either drag it and drop it, and it's going to tells me first DMX channel. Since I already patched in 1, it'll give me 12. Number of fixtures will be 1. I can select more than that. So if I want to patch in 2 more, I can hit patch. Or I can literally just hit patch once more to add in the 4th. It's really... And the software tells you if your fixtures have dip switches. If I click on pocket spot 3 here, you see the dip switch up there?
Oh, yeah, there we are.
It tells you the dip switches settings for you. That way you don't have to get out your calculator and go, okay, what's the 8-bit equivalent of 3,
Yes.
So, and it does it for you. So it tells you which way it is pointing on, and anything that's down should be off. So
yeah.
You just go up to your fixture and do it.
And then across the bottom now, I'm seeing something that it looks a little more reminiscent to some of the older DMX controllers that I've used before.
Yeah. This is the bottom section where we have channels. Is basically all of our channels from 1 through 512. If you have the MyDMX 2.0 dongle, the one for the full one, you get a full 512 channels. Once again, the MyDMX Buddy will give you 256, and for most people, that's enough.
Yeah.
So I've never gone over 200 channels for a setup anytime recently, ever. So
sure.
But on the bottom here is the channels, and you can see they're labeled, pan, tilt, color, gobo, shutter, dimmer, stuff like that.
And that information is all put in there with that profile from above, correct?
With the fixture profile. Because when we create the fixture profile, we tell these channels what they're doing and their presets. Mm-hmm. So these colors here, I entered that in. 0 to 10 was red, 11 to 12 or whatever.
Oh,
stuff like that.
Nice.
What's great about this is now users can make their own profiles with the scan library. This is one of the new things that I was talking about. The scan library editor is coming for Mac and Windows. So if you're in a jam and it's the weekend and I'm not available to make you a profile, if you have that DMX chart with you, you can literally just open up the scan library, pop out your profile the way you want to, save it. It creates the file, it puts it in the scan library for you, and you find it in your list here, and you can make your own fixture profile.
Convenient.
Very convenient.
Yeah. Well, we've looked at the bottom and we've looked in the middle. Now let's go up to the top. I see right next to that scan profile button, kind of an intriguing little button that I think is new.
That's the 3D visualizer. No, you don't need 3D glasses or anything like that. It's not that kind of 3D. But let's just open it. We will have a beta for all of our MyDMX users to test and look at before Christmas. I guess kind of as my Christmas gift to all of our MyDMX users that have been so patient waiting for this update. So, and you can see the 3D loads up just like this. It's got my moving heads right there in the middle.
Yep.
And I can move around in 3D space just by clicking and dragging around. If your mouse has a scroll wheel, or if you're on a Mac, use 2 fingers to scroll. You can zoom in and out. I can even go over to the fixtures here, select all of them, and they're kind of low in the 3D space, so I select all of them and I can make them go higher.
Sure.
So just jack them up a little bit. And this button here makes you go full screen. So I can take this and kind of put this over to the side. And what I'm going to do now is go into the scene builder, which is where a lot of people go into to program their effects and stuff. And I'm going to say right now these are in a square. I'm going to put them in a line. That way they reflect like the 3D is set up.
Okay.
And I can go to turn on their dimmer channels. And say I wanted to make them do a circle. I just go to the effects tab here. 3D disappears a little bit.
Yep.
So they're all selected. Go to the effects tab. I click on position. It automatically does a circle by default. And I can actually phase it. That way they don't all do the same thing at the same time. So
how tough is it to slow that circle pattern down?
Not tough at all. It's literally the duration of your effect is right here. By default, it's 5 seconds. We can make it go faster, or we can slow it down. So, again, the 3D is alpha, so sometimes it's a little jumpy.
Right.
But, I mean, all the stuff will get worked on, and it's being worked on right now. So what's cool is you can even sort of tell if I move this phasing slider. Sometimes it didn't do it, but see how this little circle moves along the line here of the circle?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And normally, right now, I don't know why it's not doing it. As I phase, still more circles should appear and spread out across the circle there. So you see that? So, and I can take this and move it around. So if I only want a certain area of the room to have that circle going on, I can do that. So say you don't want it down on the dance floor in front of everybody's face, you can aim it up high just by messing with the grid. And it's very simple, easy to use, easy to adjust. And I can literally take this right now and generate it as a scene. And it's literally 1, 2, 3 done. Just mess with the compression, generate it. If you want to create a new scene, no, because we already had one going. And now this is generated. I can play it back. So again, it's alpha, so not everything works great.
Yep.
But you can see that it generated this sequence for me. And it'll start playing back. It should play back normally. The 3D is a little out of touch right now. So, but, once this works perfectly with the rest of the software, which it will before we release the beta on Christmas, Users won't have to set up all their moving heads anymore. They can just kind of slightly rely on the 3D to get them within a ballpark of what they want to do. And then when they hook up their lights, they can just kind of tweak it.
Very neat.
Yeah, very cool. It's finally here.
Yes. Now, what happens if I have an older DMX fixture that doesn't have a DMX? You mentioned a little bit earlier, but how tough is it to set up a fixture that isn't already in the profile library?
That is, I mean, for me, it's incredibly easy because I make them every day. But for most people, I really don't think they're going to have much of a problem. This is the scan library editor.
Yep.
And it's got its own little button in the program ready to go. You don't have to dig through your application settings. There's a little button right there ready to go, just like the 3D. So it's loading all the icons. As you can see, this is the scan library editor.
Yes.
It's incredibly easy to use. Basically, to get started, you select your fixture type, which by clicking on this moving head, loads up the options. So you've got a little 3D moving head going on here.
Yep.
So it kind of shows you when you first launch it, that it's how they move. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What I do for LED power cans is I go to the traditional and I do a power.
Okay.
And then you can adjust it from a spot to a wash. Mess with the beam angle. You go from 1 to 110. So if you know your fixture's beam angle, you can put that in here. You can enter in a bunch of settings, who the manufacturer is, fixture name, how much power it uses, stuff like that.
Sure.
And I think all that information should be displayed somewhere in the program once you select a fixture. So it's almost kind of like software RDM info a little bit. So say I wanted to make a power can.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally, you select it, it's got one beam. All that information that I filled out in here is showing up in here in a summary.
Yeah.
So say I had RGBW. I have right here RGB. And automatically it creates the channels and stuff like that for you for RGB. So if I wanted to do white, it says extra color. I right click, I go to properties, and I have choices of custom, so which that you can use for the 6-in-1 UV fixtures.
Sure.
I can pick amber, or I can pick cold white or warm white. So this is a RGBW cold white fixture, so we'll do that. And double click inside, and you can label it white.
Sure.
And that's the only channels that you wanted to use for your fixture. You're done.
What happens if it had a channel with strobe and then it had a dimmer channel? How would we add those two?
Very easily. There's a dimmer channel right there. And you see the little caution mark?
Yeah.
It's telling you, hey, wait, this channel isn't done yet. We need a preset inside that's going to allow the software to know what it's doing.
Okay.
So, and it automatically loads the preset from the list over here. So it automatically loads, if I go to white, the dimmer preset is automatically loaded up for me over on the palette over here. So I just click here and move your screen. And the default, it's defaulted 0 to 255. So the default means if I were to click open in MyDMX 2, it's going to grab the dimmer value for on and turn it on.
Okay.
So the default level is usually important for software functions, because if there's stuff inside the program that lets you do things quickly, all it really is doing is it's grabbing those default values and it's putting them on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very easy to do. Dimmer channel, shutter channel is right here. Just click it once. And so the coolest part about this is, most shutter channels have blackout open, strobe open, pulse open, and all that stuff. And normally I can do blackout. Wait, I have to click on the channel, then do blackout. And so now if I kept doing presets, they're going to automatically adjust, but they might not be correct. So one of the coolest things I like about this, for me, since I make these a lot, is I can, if I know the values are 0 through 31, and then the next values are 32 through 63, so it automatically grabbed that range that I first made and then applied it to the next one. So now I just have to go to strobe, open, I would go to dimmer and go to pulse, back to shutter. This icons are really tiny. Open, and then random strobe, then open. And if most people, if they look at our shutter values for a lot of our fixtures, this is it exactly. 0 to 31, 32 to 63, 64 to 95, 96 to 127, etc. And in the old profile creator that I used, I would have to block these out and then go in and adjust the values after I had all of them laid out.
Sure.
What this just allowed me to do was take my first value, put it in there, enter the value range, and then it keeps that range and stacks it exactly as I go.
Yeah.
So it basically cut out half my work for me for this channel.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I know a lot of people will be like, well, cool, whatever. But to me, this is a huge time saver. So, and it'll be a huge time saver for you when you have to make profiles.
Yeah, that is a neat function.
Yeah, it's very cool. And automatically it applied the linear function for values that, you want slow to fast control. So if you don't hit linear in the software, in the MyDMX 2 software, you won't get for example, I select these. If I do global rotation, I'm not going to get this little inner fader right here if I don't hit that linear button.
I got you.
So that's why making profiles is going to be intricate and important. So, for example, I don't have anything for the shutter open, but for shutter strobe, I have that linear function, which gives me this little dial of control so that I can finally control it anywhere in the software.
Sure.
So it's a really handy feature. And this is just one thing that you can do. There's so much you can do with the profile creator that it'll take me many, many hours to explain.
Oh.
And once it comes out, we'll try to have some sort of education or online classes for all of our users to come and learn.
Future version looks pretty awesome, but if people want to get their feet wet, what can they do today to kind of play? Because it's not Christmas time yet.
Well, Christmas can't come early for everybody, but you can go to the American DJ website, adj.com, and find the MyDMX 2.0 software page, and there's a little download tab, and you can download the current release of October 14th MyDMX 2 software for Mac or Windows and see how it works for you.
That sounds great. And then the beta will be available on the website also?
We should have the beta on the website, and of course I will be handing out links on the Facebook page as well. So go ahead and follow us on Facebook, MyDMX fan page, and we'll definitely keep everybody posted. You'll definitely be hearing from us once it's available.
That sounds great. This is going to be something pretty exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing this in 2015.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Good stuff. James, thank you very much for your time. This is John Young with the Disc Jockey News.
Thank you.